Richard Boyd Barrett.
Taoiseach, earlier I asked you about our obligations under the Genocide Convention, and you claimed that it's only if one of the state parties affected invokes it. Now, that is just misleading the House. Okay? Under the Genocide Convention, to which Ireland and all the EU states, the United States, and Israel indeed for that matter, all have a responsibility to protect and prevent genocide. And then we have every leading genocide scholars of the Holocaust saying a genocide is taking place. We can see it in front of us. The Israeli government leaders have said that they intend to ethnically cleanse northern Gaza. They do it. Then they massacre southern Gaza. Then they prevent them from moving from Khan Yunis. They say we're going to starve the entire population of food, electricity. All of these things are crimes under the Genocide Convention, and we do nothing. Are you honestly telling me that our responsibilities under the Genocide Convention are to lament it years later, but to do nothing while genocide is happening in front of our eyes?
Thanks, deputies. And I kind of hear this recurring theme from deputies opposite, and I think half of you are half saying it, and the other half of you are saying you're not saying it, is that you seem to think that there's some sort of action that the Irish government could take this evening or tomorrow which would cause the Prime Minister of Israel to think again and change his policy. And half of you seem to be half saying that half the time, and then when I ask you if that's what you're saying, you say you're not saying that. And I think there was a very good analysis which I heard not that long ago from an expert on the history of the region and the politics of the region that made it very clear that not even at this stage the views of the United States will cause a change of policy in Israel. And there would have been a time when Israel would have been very sensitive to what the United States has to say in this regard. And the view was the only thing that is going to change this is a change of public opinion in Israel. And that's a very different thing and something very, very, very different to change. But again, you know, I think it is sad that we've got to the point where people are so keen to score political points on an issue like this that they want to somehow blame the Irish government for what's happening in Gaza. I think that's in fairness, Deputy, I think you're not, but I think some other people are, and I think it's wrong, and I find it objectionable because when I meet people,
Deputy, please.
Like it's just, you know, like foreign policy is important, and what we hear from the far left here, it's just gestures and it's pantomime, and it doesn't actually serve the interests of the Palestinian people at all. When I meet with the Palestinian Authority, when I meet with the Prime Minister of Palestine, they thank us for the position that we're taking and the work we're doing. When I meet with Arab ambassadors, when I meet with Arab presidents and prime ministers, they recognise Ireland as one of the countries that is taking a principled stance on this. And then when I come into this chamber, I get shouted at from the far left as if somehow I'm a representative of Israel. Like, it is just so devoid from the reality of what you hear from people who are dealing with this in their own lives every day in the Arab world. And it's like, it is quite frankly objectionable in my view.
Deputy, please.
I'm sorry. I'm just actually not going to stop now because I'm effectively being accused by Deputy Barry of somehow being responsible for what's happening in Gaza. I'm going to sit down now. I think it's bang out of order. I'm sorry.
Questions to be responded to.
May I answer other questions without being interrupted or shouted down? Because it is. I think it is beyond the pale in this House for those kind of accusations to be made.
The clock is... We're going to conclude.
Thank you. Just in relation to Deputy Haughey's question as to whether there was a collective view from the Arab countries that I engaged with, I don't think it's fair to say, I don't think it would be correct to say that there was a collective view. There are different emphases from Egypt to Jordan to Qatar, for example. But I think there was a majority view that there should be a permanent ceasefire, that there should be no expulsions of Palestinians either from Gaza or from the West Bank into Egypt and Jordan, and that they would not facilitate that, that there shouldn't be a second Nakba, and we strongly agree with their position on that, that there shouldn't be a future for Hamas in having any control of Gaza, and that there should be no reoccupation of Gaza, no territorial diminution of Gaza, and that Gaza would have to be handed over and back to some form of Palestinian control or a Palestinian Authority when this current terrible phase of the conflict ends. And I have to say Ireland would broadly be of the same view as those Arab countries, and we offered to support those countries in any way that we could, in any practical way that we could, and that's exactly what we're doing. What we're not going to get involved in is gesture politics, doing things that are ineffectual, that don't actually help the Palestinians, but just make us feel good or look good. That's not a serious approach, and doesn't merit anything in my view. Deputy Muraku asked about what we're doing on European level. There is no consensus on European level on this matter. We are able to agree certain resolutions and certain language, but the language is not precise enough in my view. We don't have QMV votes on foreign policy, so it has to be done on a unanimous basis, and that makes it very hard, next to impossible, to have a common European position on this matter. But we are one of about 8 countries that I think are most sympathetic to the Palestinian people's rightful demand for justice and human rights and statehood, and we are coordinating with those countries as to what we can do that would actually be effective and can actually make a difference. In terms of the issue of the Genocide Convention, I sought advice on it. The advice that I have is that it's the injured party that should initiate proceedings under the Genocide Convention. That actually makes a lot of sense to me. Members opposite mightn't like that. They mightn't like the fact that the Palestinian Authority has decided not to. It is the case that the Palestinian Authority has not decided, or my advice is that they haven't taken a case as an injured party. If I'm incorrect on that, then I'm happy to clarify. But again, you know, interruptions when uncomfortable facts are put across. And just in relation to genocide, I hope we all agree in this House that the Holocaust, the Shoah, was a genocide. 6 million people killed by Hitler, and would have killed another 3 to 6 million if he could. Deputy Boyd Barrett takes the view that the killing of 15,000 people in Gaza is a genocide, and it would appear that they intend to kill many more. But I would ask the question, I think it's a reasonable question to ask, is what Hamas has done to Israel not also genocidal? Went into Israel, killed 1,400 people, women, children, took people hostage, and would have killed many more if they had the chance. I've no doubt that Hamas would kill as many people in Israel as they possibly could if they were given the chance, if they had the weapons. Why is that not a genocide? Is 1,400 people not enough?